Hello and welcome. Port scanning is a crucial phase that we perform to get how many services and how many ports are open. But what you will do if the port numbers and the services running on the target system is blocking all your probes, and it will not let you scan because all the requests going through your Kali Linux box will be filtered out, either the firewalls or the IDS or any security devices that will simply filter out your traffic going inside them. I have come across many situations like this in a penetration testing and scanning the network. At this time, NMAP comes in handy because NMAP have all the features and the facility to bypass the security mechanisms firewalls that is really blocking our probes and not letting go inside our traffic to their computer system and their networks. So in this lesson, I will simply scan the target and let's see if it is filtering out, then how I will bypass it with the NMAP tool. Because NMAP have this capability to bypass all the firewalls, security rules and the security devices. So at first, let's get details about the targets and the Kali Linux box. So this is my window system. At first, we can see there are firewall rules and the firewall is running at this time. You can see the firewall state is on. Now come to see the IP address, so that I will be making a port scan to see how many services and ports are open and running services. This is the Wi-Fi that is connected with wireless networks, and this is the IP address that I am going to use for the scanning purpose. I will use every techniques that will be bypass the security mechanisms and the firewalls, because you don't know exact rules of the target system, that how it is blocking our probes. Then you must try all the switches and all the trial and error techniques to evade the firewall and scan the networks and the port scanning. So let's start with the NMAP Firewall Evasion. Typing the NMAP will reveal all the help files. So this is the firewall and IDS evasion and the spoofing sections in which all these options and we can use to bypass the firewall rules. But sometimes I have also found useful scanning techniques like XMS scan and null scan as well, because all these scan techniques makes connection and then scan the target system like half open scan, window scan, and sending the null bytes, meaning that there will no any data passed to the target system. So what will react, because every system reacts with in different manners. So I will simply start scanning with all the possible switches in the NMAP tool to bypass the security mechanism of the target systems. By default, NMAP use scene scan, that is half of an scan. It makes half connection with the target system. If you want, you can provide the switches, that is scan and the capital S, that is a scene scan. So I will use the scene scan technique for at first and provide the IP address of the window machine that I am running at this time, that is the host machine. Basically the IP address is. Now hitting the enter will scan the target. You can see there is one filtered port, that is the shell running on the Windows 7 target system with the port number 514, and the protocol is TCP. So using various techniques and various switches will also not let it go inside their network and traffic, and it will filter out, because this is really a secure applications that is running. This is the reason why the firewall is filtering out this traffic and not letting it scan. Now let's try the TCP connect scan. I'm sure this will also not bypass the security mechanism, and this probably will also be filtered out because this makes connection directly with the target systems, so it will be definitely filtered out. As you can see, scanning target with the TCP connect scan, the target system, that is Windows 7 in this case, have filtered out 5 ports that is running, and that was bypassed with the scene scan techniques. So this is the logic why I use all the switches and try every switches to bypass the security mechanisms. This is based on only the simple trial and error techniques. Now I will use next options that might be bypassed. ACK scan sends ACK packets directly to the target host, and sending a acknowledgement packet without any connection doesn't make sense. So that is the reason it also may bypass the security mechanisms. But this time, as you can see, these have not scanned and any results is not there. I will try next option, that is Xmas scan. Now here you can see the scan has been completed, and all the ports it have scanned are open, but it have been filtered out by the firewall rules. So in this case I will use another options to bypass the security mechanisms. At this time I will use only scan and with providing fragmentation attacks. In this case it will send a packet that will be fragmented in several chunks. Maybe the firewall will not be able to understand what the traffic is meant to be, and it will let it be too fast. So this is the fragmentation attack. By default it make chunks of all the data in the multiple of 8 bytes. Now with the combination of scan and the fragmented attack, it have completed the scan with more precise results. In this case it have filtered out only one port, that is 514. So now from this point I will focus on this port, specific port number, that is 514, and the protocol is TCP. So I will scan only that port with the port specification, that is 514. Now I will use another options. There is options of, you can, if you want to use fragmentation attacks, then you can increase the F switch multiple times. But there is another options that is called MTU, that is maximum transmission unit. It also does the same work like sending all the data in several chunks in the multiple of 8 bytes of data. But using MTU is a good way than fragmentation attack. It also performs the same attack type, but here you can define how many chunks of data you want to cut. So now here I will define 64 bytes of data to send. It will cut all the data in 64 bytes of multiple. So let's see what is the result after scanning with this MTU. With these options it have also filtered out. Now I will use another options, that is null scan. These have partially connected with the target that is open, but it have filtered out. So now I will try another options, that is mammon scan. In this case it have completely replied to the scan, that is port is closed. The next option I will use is window scan. Window scan is also a perfect scan that scan the target systems with the window size. Great. Now you can see the window scan have bypassed the firewall and the security mechanisms on the target system on the Windows systems. The same port, that is 514, with the protocol TCP, it is now in the open state, because the scanning with the window scan technique have successfully exploited the firewall rules and perform a firewall evasion. Because we don't know the rules on the firewall set on the target system, so we need to try every possible techniques to bypass the security mechanisms. It applies to all the security mechanisms you are going to bypass, like web application firewalls and IDS, IPS as well. So by using these methods, now sure that I will scan with this technique, that is window scan, and it will be bypassed by our scanning technique. NMAP has another options to bypass all the security mechanisms like firewall evasions and antivirus evasion as well. You can spoof your own source port number and the source IP address as well. This is the IP address spoofing. Simply specify the S switch and the IP address. Now this is the firewall log evasion techniques. In this way, the target system will be able to notice that someone is scanning, but it will not determine which IP address is scanning, because you will scan with lot more IP addresses in which your IP address will be 1, so the target system will not be able to determine. You can also specify the interface with another options like the TTL value, and you can also spoof the MAC address of your computer system to perform a spoofing attacks. If you want to send the bogus packets to the target system, then you can also send with the bad sum commands. So basically these are the firewalls and the IDS evasion spoofing techniques we use to evade the firewalls. Now by default, NMAP has also a scripting engine that it performs scanning the vulnerabilities on the target systems. You can perform scanning with a scripting engine, that is script, the default option. By using this method, you can scan the target system for the vulnerabilities, non-vulnerabilities if there is any. You can see this is the scanned results of my own system, that is Kali Linux, running PostgreSQL, that is open state. and the SSL certificate is with the common name Kali. Because the Kali is by default secure, so there is no chances that it will find a vulnerability. But by this method you can scan the target systems with the default scanning and the scripting engine of the NMAP vulnerability database. Apart from all these, evading the firewalls, antivirus, and scanning for the vulnerabilities, there are a lot more useful commands and the useful uses of that I generally find in a penetration test and the scanning phase so useful. You can check all these commands to scan your own system and see the result in a penetration test to scan a large network with a little bit effort and with a powerful scripting engine. Thank you.